Welcome.
Just kidding.
So, welcome back
to our podcast.
We're really excited, and we have
a really good topic for today.
Yes. It's fear is a freaking illusion. Alyssa's going to kick us off here because this actually came up in her mind and brought it up to me.
I feel like fear is something that drives almost all of our anxieties, all of our
underlies our worries.
Yeah, it's just based on our fear. But when you realize that fear is an illusion, I feel like you can help lessen your anxieties and just problems in life and things that you are kind of nervous to do because you have a fear of it, or you have a fear of failure, or a fear of whatever.
And I think fear is what stops us from doing literally so many things that could really turn out good for us or make us happy or whatever it is. And if you just literally, before we even jump into this episode, if you just close your eyes, like seriously sit down, close your eyes, and just envision your life, a timeline of your life now and then for the next 10 years, without fear being a factor. Almost like it's not a factor. Just imagine where you'd be. And even if it's not where you'd be or where you'd end up, imagine you right now without fear. And if you think you don't have fear, really dig deep, because I think it's something we all have because we're humans, and it's something that you have to overcome. But when you do, and you visualize yourself, visualize. It
did sound like a word.
Yeah,
if you didn't say anything,
we're gonna go with it. If you visualize your life without fear, I think you'd be much lighter, much happier.
Yeah, but I feel also the whole kind of concept is to kind of get your mind to be in a stage of right thinking.
Yeah.
Instead of wrong thinking, you're doing some more right thinking. So my therapist actually, she goes over fears like this with me, right? Where I want to do lashes for a living, right? Let's say I wanted to do lashes for a living, but you don't want to start because you have a fear that you're just not going to be good. Mm-hmm. So you just really never start. But what made you think that you weren't going to be good? You know what I mean? So you have to kind of dwindle each thought away and just be okay, nope, this is just my mind, just trying to
get in the way.
Kind of trick you, and it kind of clouds your mind up a little bit. And I feel with a lot of things that we do in life, we tend to put fear before we make any big steps.
Almost
for no reason.
Almost fear is a reason that you shouldn't make a step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're, in your head planning out.
Trying to move,
right? You could have 29 really good pros, but then if you have that one thing that is instilled by fear, it's almost we let that one thing stop us, even though clearly the pros might outweigh it. And I think there's two sides to this. I think one is definitely moving more towards, like you said, right thinking. But the other side, I think, is digging deep and really seeing where those fears are coming from, because where are they, you know what I mean? You don't really have a reason to fear in this life. Truthfully, I believe that life, we all have a plan, a purpose, and life is gonna, we know this, and life is gonna work out the way it needs to work out. That doesn't mean it's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
But seriously, life is temporary. You can't live in fear. What's the point? So I think those are the two sides we should talk about today and share our insight and experiences, is how to dig and find where that fear is, and then how to move to better thinking.
And fear doesn't have to be so defined by something that you're trying to do, or on a roller coaster. I'm not talking fear in that
you see a spider.
Yeah, but
what did we see last night?
A spricket.
A freaking spricket. I'm fearful of sprickets
because it's a jumping spider.
Do you remember that old phone company, Cricket?
Yeah, I thought it's not still a phone company.
We're in 2022. They can't be a phone company anymore.
We could have our own phone company called Spricket.
Yeah. It'd be a fearful phone company.
The speedier Cricket. The cell phone line. The Spricket.
You hop from phone call to phone call.
But what I'm saying is fear comes in so many forms, in our mind. Whether it be you're walking into a bar and
anxiety.
Yeah, it's just I feel it just shows up as anxiety. And you have to kind of learn how to dwindle it down and take yourself out of that place and just...
Not to mention, fear locks you in a very dark place. But I feel there's immediate fear, oh my God, I'm scared of the spricket. That we identify as fear. But we have a hard time identifying things that are fear that aren't that. Like you said, walking in a bar, you might get a little anxious, but you're not going to sit there and say, I'm scared and fearful to walk in the bar. But we don't realize that a lot of those other maybe negative feelings are really rooted in fear.
Well, it's also more, I feel like, an unpleasant feeling that you're kind of like, almost, not like you're in danger, but like you're, like something's gonna, like you're almost just assuming already that something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're already picturing what that could be.
Yeah.
And you have to start looking at, I feel like, your actual surroundings and being like, okay, but that's not gonna happen. Like, this isn't.
And if it does, we're gonna deal with it. And you're not. What's the point of fearing something before it happens?
Yeah.
Like I think my therapist said this to me, and that's why I have it come to my mind. So I'm not gonna take credit for it, but it's kind of like some of us, actually a lot of us, are really prone. I have always been this way, where it's almost like you need to expect the worst outcome of something in order, and in your head we have it programmed like, okay, that will be good because then I'll be like prepared. But it's kind of like you're not more or less prepared if you're expecting that bad outcome. You know what I mean? You're just like letting that, it's just like an illusion, literally. Fear is an illusion of you thinking that, and it's almost like, what is the point? If that bad thing happens in 5 years, it's kind of like if you let fear get to you 5 years prior, you've actually spent the 5 years prior to it happen living horribly in fear, and then you're going to continue to after it happens. Or you could have 5 great years not living in fear, and if it happens, then you might have a hard time, but you figure it out. We need to stop thinking that by
It's
thinking
like you're
the worst.
constantly trying to keep yourself prepared.
Yeah, but for what? Like, what's the reason? You have to live really and embrace the now, and like not.
Because like the fear you might have could wind up turning into like one of the biggest lessons of your life.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Life isn't going to throw things at you that aren't for a reason, right? You're not just, like, it's a lesson, it's a blessing. I know it's cliche, but I think that generally is true. And if you talk to older people, like, they will tell you how certain things have worked out, which made this happen, or this taught them that. Like, you know what I mean? There's always some weird.
I feel like just like with patterns in life and just things that you're doing, there might be like parts of your life where you're like, I feel really stuck right now.
Yeah.
I feel like you're not really going anywhere, but there's a reason. I feel like even for those feelings, like there are so many different feelings, obviously, as humans that we overcome and feel, but learning how to understand the feelings and realizing that you don't know if this is a lesson, you don't know if it's going to turn into a blessing, you don't know if it's.
And you can control those feelings if you start to identify them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think something interesting is I was watching this YouTube video of Matt Fraser, something like that. He is a, Hollywood renowned psychic medium, and he was saying, like, talking about the process of passing over and, like, all the questions we all have about life that we think those people can answer. And he was actually saying that when you die, before you fully go to the other side, you do a life review. I think we've talked about this on here. And he was saying that when you're in that life review, you kind of relive your life from your perspective, and you relive your life from other people in your lives' perspective. So how you've benefited them, how you've hurt them, this and that. And of course, if it's somebody that you hurt or you saw that, you might like start sending them signs, like kind of trying to make peace, right? But you really go through that. But another part of the life review is you get shown everything that was meant for you. You get shown like what you could have had, what was going to happen, what was destined for you, if fear and anxiety and worry did not hold you back. That's a really powerful thing to think about, because he was like, these are human-made things. There's no fear in heaven, right? He was like, it's very good vibrations. You're not born with fear, but these are like, society teaches you fear, right? These are
we're not saying that we
things.
are 100% saying that there's a heaven or hell or a religion or whatever. I know, but I feel like for our audience, I feel like it's good to know that we're not sitting here acting like we know what's going to happen when we die. All that we know is that there's definitely something higher, a higher power at play here, and we all have to understand that everybody here doesn't really know what's happening. There might have been people that have had near-death experiences, and then, they're living on Earth again. But, like, I'm talking, it's not weird that we all feel these same kind of feelings and things, and because of society and because of the way the world works, as, like we said, you kind of
have these. But just seriously,
you kind of merge yourself away from it because you feel as if you're kind of wrong for thinking this deep. You know what I'm saying? But there's no wrong, and if you're that type of person that, like, these podcasts are for you and you feel
like you think about this stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to, like, move my thing real quick.
But seriously, if you do think about that, like, you see all the things, you would have had this business, you would have gotten married, you would have done this. If you really take that in and realize, like, they show you how fear and anxiety is the only thing that kept you from that. I mean, that's powerful enough for me to say, I'm dropping the fear and anxiety because there's stuff meant for me that the world is going to work out for me and make that happen.
Right.
If I don't, let my own negative emotions affect that. So it's a mental thing, right? It's not always that easy. It's a journey, but it's kind of like if you can keep that in your head and know that, then you can keep like the positive outlet of like what is meant for you in this life and what can happen
I feel like
instead
then
of fear.
when anxieties roll in, or you start feeling these certain ways, or you're having a fear of a new job or a new career, or you don't know where your life is going to be or whatever, then you are learning how to kind of like pause yourself in that present moment and let go of the anxiety and the fear and continue on with the rest of your day instead of letting it ruin like literally hours in your day, and it'll drag on to the next day and whatever.
Do you have anything that you have started? Because I know when you're running your business, like you dealt with a lot of anxiety and depression and stuff, but you can't deal with that because you're not going to be able to do your services. So like, have you learned anything over the years of like a tactic that works for you where you can say like, let it go and maybe come back to it later?
Because I feel like meditation is very wrongly perceived, yeah, by a lot of people. And it's not like I'm saying, you want to go sit in a corner, put in some like voodoo type music and just be like,
Yeah.
I literally mean finding meditations that speak to you. You could specifically find certain people, voices that you like. When I started meditating, that really started changing my life because I was able to pause myself in the present moment. And learning how to meditate isn't like sitting there falling asleep. It's not. It's almost getting yourself in such a comfortable state where you're able to let your mind stop thinking, but it's still absorbing information.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Learning how to realize that it's just your brain. It can't help but process thoughts.
Yeah.
So when you learn how to control the process of your thoughts, it's
then
different.
You're powerful.
It's different.
Another thing I wonder, speaking of meditation, because I definitely want to get into it, I'm not super into it now, is like if you think about it as humans, there's no way we are meant to take in as much stimulation as we do in this century with social media and technology, where it's just like information's at our fingertips. We know everything about everyone right away. Like there's no way that is healthy. Like in the old days, if you broke up with someone, you wouldn't know what the fuck they're doing. But now,
like show up at their house.
Yeah, like
knock,
now
knock.
You can. It's almost like out of sight, out of mind. But now it's like all you have to do is go on social media, and you're like, oh my god, they're out here, they're doing this. So it's almost like in today, like it's almost more important today than ever because our brains have to be just fucking overwhelmed.
I think it's absolutely important for people to be ending their day off. I mean, even with a 3-minute meditation is something simple. So like throughout the day, I'm experiencing the anxieties, the rushes, the different clients and yada, yada, yada. And I literally throw it all to the back of my head into like one big trash can. And then when I get home, I take that trash can and I start pulling each piece out like one by one as I'm meditating. And then eventually my trash can is empty. My thoughts are organized and I feel a lot better, and then I continue to make dinner, get myself ready for bed, and that way I can start my next day over. And that's why kind of like where I feel like awareness comes in too, is like while I'm at work I keep myself present and very aware.
Oh yeah.
That I'm like alive and I'm a human. I should be lucky that I'm working, and
yeah.
The things that I'm stressing and having anxiety about, they're really small, fixable, learning.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So what happens
things.
like if your biggest fear comes true when you're living in just like a horrible period of life, right? Like how do you think you should go about that? Like you're literally living in one of your biggest fears.
I truly think that when those things kind of happen, that means that there's something going on. Like, not like going on, like, I don't know. I just feel like when something like that happens, you weren't really in tune with yourself for so long that I feel like
it's putting you back on. Like, I think those things are definitely happening for a reason.
Like, I feel like without the worst things or times happening to me, that I wouldn't be where I am in today, and the mental mindset that I have right now is so high that,
so you're saying when you're in that moment, still hold that routine of meditating and just put yourself in the now and feel okay regardless of what's going on, and then have, like, that peace of mind knowing that a moment only lasts so long and you'll end up where you're supposed to be.
And I do feel like death is something where it causes a lot of problems. And remember I texted you the other day and I was like, is grief and love the same thing?
It is. And
when you really pan out and like try to like think about it, it really is, because you really wouldn't grieve if you didn't love so much.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Can't have grief without love.
Yeah, and you can't.
love without knowing that at some point you're going to grieve.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's one of the most powerful emotions.
But I truly think learning at any time in your life how to ground yourself, how to ground your feelings, to realize that whatever point in your life that you're at is going to surpass, and it's up to you to figure out how you're going to heal yourself and
it's almost
continue dealing with problems as they arise.
If you can take just our 33-minute podcast and allow that be a time where you put all your outside problems to the outside and really like zone in on that.
Zone in on yourself, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know, if you really remove everything else and think about it right now, it's kind of like if you really look at it from a broader perspective and be like, I just have this one life to live and we all want to live a good life. Nobody's like, I just don't want to live a good life. It's kind of like, I don't know, you can put yourself in this area or this headspace where it's almost like the negativity or like the fear doesn't get to you if you're able to truly put yourself in that like meditative headspace or see things from that broader perspective. Because why would you want to waste any second of your life
worrying and being
fearful or sad? Like, it's just like when you see it, we're so stuck in the now. We're so stuck in the now, right? I'm sad because of this. I'm sad because of that. I'm annoyed because of this. But it's like if you can see it from that broader perspective and like just, you know what I mean? It's almost like you have to sometimes literally
It's almost like,
yourself.
like, when you travel, right? And you go to different countries and you see how other people live. And I'm not talking like the richer people. I'm talking like, maybe people that really don't have as great of a quality of life that we have, but they are somehow so much happier than we are. Yeah. Because they're not influenced by all this negativity. Like, I truly think that social media would love to be a support one another community, but it's completely not.
It'd be really cool if there was a social media.
But I truly think the community that is, like, we create that. So, you know what I mean? Throughout your friends, throughout your family, throughout the people and the places that you go and the things that you're doing.
It's almost like
you have to learn how to create your own community outside of social media.
I really do agree with that. Like, it doesn't matter if the whole world was falling down on social media towards you or in your this aspect or that aspect. Like, if you're truly surrounding yourself by people like you have deep connections with, you love and support, and it's reciprocated. You're in tune with yourself. You're doing things you love. Like, you have that comfortable community. Like, I feel like it only can get to you so much. The scary part is when you don't have that, and then the world's falling down, or when you make your community like social media or something.
Well, like, how many times has something really bad happened right on social media that everybody knows about, but has it actually negatively impacted you personally?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you might care, you might see this, but you have to learn how to just like take things as they come, but like not let social media or I don't know.
You just have to live in your life and see life.
You have to like live it for yourself. I feel like a lot of people really live their life for other people to be seen,
and that's not fulfilling.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Like, oh my God, people are gonna see I'm not successful because I don't have this, that, and the other. Like, okay, well,
or like I have to show my car. I have to show.
Genuinely, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And nobody gives a fuck whether you're doing well or not, because 9 times out of 10 that person probably doesn't really want to be happy for you anyway. So be happy for yourself.
Yeah.
And do things that make you happy for yourself.
It's like, yes, you need a community and you need people around you, but it really does start from you. And
it's not the right people, then it's better to be alone.
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that like when you find your firm,
like mattress firm.
Yeah, like extra firm mattress.
Why are there so many mattress firms?
I don't know, but I don't like mattress firm.
Every time I like pass a mattress firm, there's never anybody in there.
You know the mattresses where both you and your partner's side can have like different textures and qualities?
Yeah, I really need one of those.
That's how you know you've made it in life.
I feel like Nick would love if...
It's a good investment because sleep is what
I'll just be like, babe, so I think we should
invest $6,000
in a dual...
They're expensive.
Infused mattress. We should make our own mattress.
Like, what type of mattress do you think, like, Kim Kardashian sleeps on at
Like,
night?
I would want one that's, like, infused with essential oils and is, like, filled with, like...
Stop. That could be a business idea.
Oh, my God.
Anyway. What was I saying?
We shouldn't post that. Can you cut that out?
No, I'm going to leave it in.
If fucking one of you guys come out with that, I'm literally coming to your mattress warehouse, and I'm peeing on your mattress.
Yeah. Me too.
That's my idea. But seriously...
What was I saying now?
It's like crystal infused.
Mattress.
You're a firm believer.
Oh, I am a firm firm believer, guys, that life won't start working out for you. I'm talking with my hand here.
I just wish I had nails so I could do the same.
Can you hear my nails? Okay. Life starts working out for you when you find yourself. You know that should happen to you. It's almost like your life is not going to all come together in like your dream way until it's like you tune in with yourself and you spend that time on you.
Yeah.
That's like you hear so many people say, even not spiritual people, you hear people be like, it was when I wasn't looking for anybody else and I was tuning into myself and just working on me that like everything happened. It's like, that's how people say it, but
like, oh my god,
you know what
like,
I mean?
we literally met at like the weirdest. So I do think another video topic, which I really would love to get more in depth with, is, I don't know, just some...
You start the whole thing up and
just,
it's like, I don't
Can
know.
you just cut that whole part out? Because I honestly started having a thought, and then
it
I
flew
started
away.
looking at my wall of belongings, and then I got another thought, and then I forgot the first one.
thought, yeah.
So now I'm just going to disregard both thoughts and continue on with your thoughts. Continue.
Continue on.
Because honestly, I should just shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's what I should do. I should just shut the fuck up. You remember you said that in episode 1?
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to talk about how we identify fear. If we all want fear out of our lives, yada, 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 how do we know where it's coming from? Because it's not always right in front
I feel like
of
we
us.
should learn how to turn fear into opportunity.
Yeah,
And
or growth.
Yeah, because every time you fear something and then obviously you overcome that fear, then you just created an opportunity for you to be a better version of yourself.
And
You
whatever
like,
that means.
yeah, in whatever aspect or however you disregarded that fear and you turned it into like almost like an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to have a broader perception, whatever it is. Fear is a really big thing and it drives a lot of problems in our lives, and we have to learn how to kind of
Release it.
not
use it.
not just even like absorb it, but like when you absorb something, you have to learn how to like release what you're absorbing.
Yeah. I agree.
And it takes control and learning how to not let yourself get so wrapped up into, like I said, like the routines and keeping yourself very present. It's a really hard thing to do because it's like when you watch things like this and you hear these, you know, I don't know, I wouldn't even call it like spiritual, but like just more like of a guidance talk. You like take it in and you are really present for that moment. You're like, I really should do these things and, blah, blah, blah. But are you actually doing them? You're the one that's going to make the change. So,
I agree.
You have to actually learn how to get rid of the fear, turn it into opportunity, keep yourself grounded, and release any negative emotions towards the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a good, I think, seriously, if you put that approach into practice, it could probably change your life. And it changed your life.
Changed my life drastically.
So I feel like we could share, I don't know if you want to do it or me, a story, like a personal experience of overcoming fear and what it did for us.
I mean, I feel like I have a few things that I've feared and overcame.
I think the first thing that comes to mind that's relevant in my life right now would be...
like something you really didn't want to do, but you had to do it.
Well, I think I've feared my whole life. Like, I'm definitely a person that, like, when I'm with someone, I want to stay. I want all the people in my life to always stay. And
That's
I feel
good.
like...
Yeah, this is good. This is kind of similar to mine.
I feel like the biggest fear of mine would be, like, losing, the most important people in my life. And within the past 6 months... I've honestly lost, like, the 3 most, like, important men in my life. Whether it was literally, like, my dad passing away, whether it was, like, mentally something going on, whether it was, like, just not in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a lot of emotions to take in. And I look back sometimes and I'm like, if you would have told me, 6 months ago I'd be in this position, I wouldn't believe you. Like, it's, like, one of my biggest fears in life that I'm living.
Is actually losing somebody that you...
Yeah, but not just somebody, but, like the
somebody
3 men.
yeah,
like, as a
they're
girl...
very important people in your life.
As a girl, as a daughter, it's like men, not all men, but you know what I mean? Like your dad, your grandfather, your boyfriend, they're like the 3 like men that almost provide protection for you or like look over you. Yeah, and so like it's a different aspect as a female, as a daughter, and just to lose those 3 kind of all in 6 months in some capacity.
It's hard.
It's kind of like you get left in this, like you just feel like, I would never even believe that could happen. You don't think life's just going to hit you like that, but when it rains, it pours, okay? So now kind of, not fully on the other side, I think I'm still dealing with it, but I have come to realize that, first off, it's something I feared for so long, and it happened, and I'm okay. And it's kind of showed me, like, if all of some of my biggest fears has happened, and I'm still okay, like, why did I spend so much time fearing certain things? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the outcome's not, like, you're going to be okay. You're not going to be given anything you can't handle. And, you know, I wish I didn't spend time fearing it. I wish I spent time, like, embracing the moments and being present in the moments. But now, also on the other side, I do think there's lessons that came out of it. I mean, I do feel more independent. I do feel more particular about where I put my energy and who I take it from. And I genuinely feel like, I don't know. I just think when something is left, you're not going to be left in a complete void. Like, obviously, with my dad, grandfather, I know they're always going to be with me, but I think where I am now,
mentally,
I think I've kind of made fear an illusion myself through this, because I realized there's no reason for me to fear what happened for so long. And it's happened, and it's not dandy and butterflies, but I am okay, and I'm doing fine, and I'm supported, and whatever. And it just honestly is an experience that showed me to get rid of that fear, and to just get rid of fear, guilt, anxiety, like, embrace the moment from every lens, you know what I mean? And just, you know, at the end of the day, the moments are all you have. No material things, no this and that, no status can ever, you know, amount to the same, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not pleasure. That sounds a little weird. Amount to the same value as a moment to somebody. You know what I mean? You take moments and memories with you. They stay with you. You don't take money or, you know, Instagram followers or whatever it is with you. So it was just a lesson in my life to say stop living in fear and embrace your moments, and that anything you're given, even the toughest battles, because I could write a book about my life, you wouldn't believe it, because there's more things that's happened in the past 6 months, okay?
And honestly, it's
crazy, but it's like I went through this period of where everything was taken from me in a sense.
It's
but
almost
now
like,
I'm building it back up.
It's almost like I feel like the things that happened to me like a year and a half prior to you coming back into my life
are happening to me now.
And now it's like I was able to kind of teach you the whole, not teach you, but I didn't really do anything. I feel like you just grasped the concept really quickly because.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't believe that would ever be my life. One day I will write a book when I'm like have a couple months left to live. That way I don't have to like hear the reactions of the book, because people would think
that's a
I'm
great
lying.
idea. Yeah, I would do the
just
same
drop
thing.
the
Yeah,
book,
they would definitely think I was
peace out, pass away. But yeah, I'm rebuilding a lot of things back up, and I'm rebuilding things up better and more sustainable. God. The carpet. It's the weirdest fear to have, Alyssa.
It's not.
Alyssa has a fear of things rubbing on carpets, and we're talking about getting rid of fears.
Okay, that's not a fear. That's actually it's like a texture problem.
You've now diagnosed it as a texture problem?
It's a texture problem.
You just who told you that?
Like
medically diagnosed?
I hate the fucking sound. Jocelynn, I'm so serious. Like, please don't do it.
Do you know what I hate? I can't help it.
I'm gonna have to walk away.
I'm gonna have to step
I literally hate like the feeling of like just carpet against the sound of it, or sandpaper or roughness. I can't do it for real.
I understand. I can't do like
it gives me chills.
Pulling cotton balls apart.
Okay,
gives me chills.
That's the texture problem.
Oh, I have a texture problem.
So
guys.
The same thing as like hearing nails on a chalkboard.
Oh,
I think that's like a sensory problem.
I got chills right now.
It's like a sensory. I feel like I have a sensory and a texture problem. Like I can't touch it and I can't hear it.
Well, maybe the conclusion is there's some fears that will never leave. Like texture problems.
I don't know if that's more of a fear or if that's more of just like a
like an issue.
Remember when you were kids, you would touch and be like,
oh yeah, you'd lick your tongue and then you'd touch your butt. Anyways, we're gonna wrap this up. So Alyssa, what's your
takeaway from today?
How should we attack our weeks?
I feel like you should start turning in, like when you realize that you're having something that could be a fear or an anxiety, turn it into an opportunity for yourself to learn, grow, and surpass this fear. Prosper. Yeah.
Prosper gives it like power. Like I felt like it made your statement powerful.
What were the two first things I said?
Learn, grow, and prosper.
I think I said turn into opportunity to But yeah, you're right. All I'm saying is really try to identify first what the fears, the anxieties that are kind of coming more often. You know what I mean? The ones that are kind of like repetitive. Mm-hmm. The repetitive kind of fears and anxieties are the ones that you gotta, I feel like, kind of tackle first. And
do you think that like if you never deal with them and put them off, that will be something that you deal with the rest of your life? Like
I feel like it'll all just come back up.
Yeah, like you really need to deal with something and let it go.
I feel like the universe is going to show you the things that you fear so that you can learn to overcome them to kind of like unlock this better version of yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I think that was a great takeaway.
That is.
I've done way better than the past.
I know, your first takeaway, you've definitely improved. The only thing I would add...
all my takeaways.
They get better every time. My takeaway would be to embrace the moment more and, honestly, learn how to meditate. That's what I'm going to be doing this next coming month, I would say. Yeah. You have a serious meditation coming up that we will discuss probably in 6 months from now.
I'm so nervous, yeah.
Okay.
6 months from now?
Yeah, I feel like that's something you discuss when it passes. Like, give it some time.
It's going to be done on Monday.
Okay, anyways, now we sound crazy. Okay, thank you for tuning in to the Indulge in Yourself podcast. Really leave reviews if possible on Apple.
You guys have been like blowing our phones up, like texting in DMs, which I mean we love it. I love to hear it, but like
it really helps us.
Leave some comments or reviews like below on our YouTubes our YouTubes, like we have multiple. Our YouTube, our podcast, all our platforms. That way other people can like see it and they
know what they're getting into.
You know what I mean? That way if people kind of want to get like if you're just reading a book, you're just like, oh, like
let me see the reviews.
Yeah, you want to see how people reacted to it. So we just want to hear your reactions. We're really kind of happy with just the support that we're getting now. It might not be anything crazy, but the little amount of support that we're getting, like we really appreciate it because
and we know we're connecting with people through this. Also, follow our Instagram or Facebook or whatever you want because we do post a lot of extra things and we also try to make it more of a community where you can like write in stories or topics or, you know, kind of stay up to date on the behind the scenes. So
safe space.
Anyways, indulge in yourself this week.
Yes, indulge in yourself and target all your fears.
And go to Target. Bye.
Go to Target.
you.